So talking about biology, we'll just do a little introduction today. And yes, it's Oviogenewaro again, Luminous Tutorials. So we'll talk about biology. What's biology definition? Now, biology is derived from two Greek words, bio and logos. Bio means life, logos means to study. Therefore, we can simply say biology is simply what to study life. So biology is a branch of pure science that is with the study of what life. When I mean life, I mean what everything that is living. So take note, it's not non-living and living things. Study of what living things. Am I communicating? And this entails both plants, animals, viruses, and all that. Okay, fungi, etc. We'll talk about. Am I communicating? Now the next we'll talk about here is what are the branches of biology? Now basically biology divided into two branches basically. That is normally. We have the botany. We have the what? Then we have botany, and then we have zoology. Yes. Are you there? Now for the botany simply deals with the study of what? Of plants. Please take note. The study of plants is called what is called botany. It's a course in university, actually. Then another one we have it's zoology. Am I communicating? Zoology is simply what the study of what? Animals. These are major branches in what? In biology. Now other areas of biology include we have the mycology, study of fungi. We have other branch of biology which includes parasitology, the study of what? Of parasites. We even have anatomy. Anatomy deals with what? The study of what? Of the structure of living organisms. We have physiology. And physiology has to do with what? The study of the function of what? Of living organisms. Does it make sense? Okay. Now, have you understand that? Now we'll talk about characteristics of living things. Yes, I'm going to be superficial, but I'm going to touch a lot of things while doing so. Am I communicating? And the first thing you must know about living organisms is that what they have the ability to what? To move. So it's called movement or locomotion. Am I communicating? And why do they move? They move in search of food. They move away from danger. Hey there. They move for competition. Even escape to even meet. To meet with one another. Meet like mate. These are the major reasons why they what? Why living organisms move. Are you there? And the movement is different. For some organism, they move only parts of their body. We call that one fixed movement. You see that one in what? In plants, only the leaves and the stems. Are you there? Moves. Are you there? Now, but for other organisms, they have unlimited movement. They can move all parts of their body. Am I communicating? Now, the next we'll talk about now is respiration. What is respiration? Respiration can be defined, please take note. Respiration can be defined as a process whereby living organisms, are you there, break down the food, are you there, break down food in their body with or without the use of oxygen. I come again. The process whereby what living organisms break down food substances, for example, C6, H12, O6, they break it down with oxygen to give us a product, or without oxygen. Are you there? Now, basically divided into two types. I will write this equation again. Just relax. Divided into two types. We have the aerobic respiration and the anaerobic respiration. Now, for the aerobic respiration, is one that is done in the presence of oxygen. The equation for it is this: is C6H12O6, are you there, plus oxygen to give us what? Carbon dioxide plus water plus, are you there, 38 ATP. Although as you advance, it has turned to 32 ATP. Am I communicating? Oxygen here is 6 molecules of oxygen. So the process whereby what food substance is broken down in the presence of oxygen, as in the case of aerobic, are you there, or absence of oxygen in anaerobic, to give us what? Energy, ATP. Does that make sense? Please take note of this equation. It is very, very important. Are you there? For the one of anaerobic respiration, is broken down. Are you there? Carbon dioxide is not for inside. What is for is what? Either lactic acid or alcohol is formed in anaerobic. Are you there? Which is absence of oxygen. Okay, now to continue what we're saying, yes. So the next thing to talk about is what we know already established, that respiration is two types: aerobic and what, an anaerobic, right? Yes, we'll talk about this when we are dealing respiration proper. And the next we'll talk about now is what is nutrition. This is a process whereby plants what like it's like feeding. Either they make the food or they don't make the food, but they obtain food in order to what, to grow. Am I communicating? They obtain food in order to what, to grow. Now there are some organisms that are able to manufacture their own food. Are you there? Organisms that are able to manufacture their own food. That mode of nutrition is called auto. Auto means self. Self, by myself. Autotrophic mode of nutrition. Or holophytic mode of nutrition. And you see that it was in green plants. Therefore, green plants, they have a special name. They call them what? Call them autotrophs. Exactly. They're called what? Autotrophs. Now, whereas the other ones that are unable to manufacture their own food, they can't manufacture their own food. They are called what? They are called heterotroph. Are you there? They can only feed on already made food, feed on plants and all that. Are you there? The mode of nutrition is called heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Or you can call it holozoic mode of nutrition. Am I communicating? Alright. Now, have you understood that examples of this include what? Animals, mammals. They cannot manufacture their own food, but I told you, for autotrophs, example is what? Is a green plant. Why? Because they have a specialized structure that is called the chloroplast or the chlorophyll. Am I communicating? Okay, the next we'll talk about now is excretion. Excretion is simply what? The removal of what? Metabolic waste. All living organisms do that. Are you there? The removal of what? Metabolic waste from their body. Are you there? And the next thing about regards to what to living organism is what sensitivity. They can react to stimulus, either external or internal stimulus. Hmm? Stimulus means anything that they can, you know, perceive. Take for example now, a painful stimulus. Let me explain. A painful stimulus. If I use a needle, I need to prick you, you tend to move away from the needle. Am I communicating? But something that is dead, let me say a dead man, if you use needle to pierce that person, will that person move away? No. Am I communicating now? So sensitivity is a part of what? Characteristic of what? Of living thing that this person is living. The next thing is what is growth. We say growth is simply defined as what? The irreversible increase in size, height, and weight of an organism. Please, do you understand me? So this is also a characteristic of living organism. The next we'll talk about is the reproduction. Now, reproduction is the process whereby what living organism give rise either to offspring of their kind. Of what? Of their kind, which means they bear resemblance to them, they resemble them. Am I communicating? And basically, they have two types. I won't dwell so much on it. We have the asexual, are you there? And then was the sexual reproduction. We'll build on this later. We just have to understand this. The next we talk about is adaptation. Living organisms, they adapt. Now, if you look at this now, this Buhari regime, for example, you see that people who normally would have complained, although I'm just saying this is not the perfect explanation, you know. Okay, let me give you an instance of adaptation. Now, you notice that anytime there is a dry season, when there's a dry season, are you there? What happens? You sweat a lot. Am I communicating? You sweat a lot, but you pee less. That is, you urinate less, while your body has adapted to that weather. But whereas when there is rainy season, you cannot sweat, so you pee more. Am I communicating? That's adaptation. Only living organism can do that. Non-living things cannot do that. Are you there? And then lastly, competition. Now, for the competition per se, it's the living organisms in the world, they compete for food. Am I communicating? Compete for food, compete for survival, compete even for mating. They compete to even get a mate. Am I communicating? You see people fighting over boyfriends and girlfriends. I'm just joking, okay? But that shows you signs of what? Signs of living things. Either they compete to eat, they compete to survive, they compete to mate, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense? Alright. Yes, so the next we'll talk about now the differences between plants and animals. Am I communicating? Please try to understand this again because I would want to make it explicit so that we are just doing introduction again, but still the many things you have to understand here. The first thing you must know is that what animals generally are heterotrophic mode. They are heterotrophic in nature. I explained that earlier. In the sense that what they cannot manufacture their own food by themselves. So the mode of nutrition is what? Heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And what do you call animals? You call them what? Call them heterotrophs. Heterotrophs. Am I communicating? On the other hand, plants can manufacture their own food by themselves. So you call them what? Autotroph. Autotrophs. And the mode of nutrition you see them is what is because it's autotrophic mode of nutrition, which I say is also called what? Holozoic in our previous video. Is that not? Now let's continue. Now, how come plant is able to manufacture food by themselves but animals cannot? Simple. Very simple, because what? Animals does not have a structure that they call what? Chloroplast. Are you there? Chloroplast is a structure, let me say for example like this, that has a pigment structure inside of it that is called chlorophyll. So animals does not have a chloroplast that contains a chlorophyll. Are you there? So they cannot manufacture their own food. So they are called what? Heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Whereas the plants have a chloroplast. Am I communicating? So they have chloroplast that contains chlorophyll. So they can manufacture their own food by themselves. Do you understand? So we're talking about two differences now. What's the next difference? The next difference is animals does not possess a cell wall. Are you there? You're right, plant has cell wall. Okay. The next is presence of specialized sense organs. Animals have specialized sense organs, the eyes, ears, and all that. Are you there? But you won't see that in plants. The you won't. In fact, let's not talk about the structure they have. It's not specialized. Am I communicating? So then the next we talk about now is what? In plants, in animals, they have limited growth. I think even from the age of 18, 20, and there, some of the growth has already stopped. Increase in height and all that. Like for females now, talking about man, females grow, they get bigger on time. Like they grow taller on time. Before males begin to grow taller, and then by the age of 16 or so, a female has already stopped growing tall. That's why I see girls, once they has passed 16 years of age, they don't grow taller than what they were before. Am I communicating? But in plants, they have unlimited growth. You could see the tallest tree, Iroko tree. It's as tall as that, keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And even the shoots, the roots keep going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Am I communicating? So they have unlimited growth. So limited growth in animals, unlimited growth in what? In plants. Please, does it make sense? And the next I want to talk about is, how do animals store their food? Please. Animals store their food as what? As glycogen. They store it where? Store it in the liver and in the muscle as glycogen. Am I communicating? Whereas plants store their food as what? As starch. And you see that in the leaves. Am I communicating? Even sometimes in the shoots or stems. Basically in the leaves. Am I communicating? Now, the next thing is this, the movement. Animals have unrestricted movement. A man can travel from here and say he's going to Lagos. Am I communicating? But a plant can't do that. Just imagine your orange tree telling you that it's traveling from here to Lagos, or you see your orange tree moving from one place to another. Even you yourself as a man, you would run. True of us, yes. Are you there? But they have what? They have limited movement. Only their body parts, like the leaves, can move. The stems can move. Even the roots too can move. But the body does not move together. But in man, they move globally. All their parts of body can move at the same time. Please, you understand me? And the next and last thing we talk about now is what their specialized structure. Are we there? Animals have specialized excretory and what? Respiratory organs. Let me explain. For animals, when you talk about the respiratory structure, you talk about what? Talk about the what? Talk about this structure which is called what? The lungs. Are you there? Now you talk about the excretory structure, the basic one of what? Of animals. You talk about it like what? The kidneys. Am I communicating? But you won't really have a specialized structure like that for animals. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Okay, so what we're talking about basically. So the next we'll look at organization of life. Okay, the complexity. Look at the organization of life. Now, how is life organized? Now, basically, the smallest unit of life is the cell. Are you there? From cell, we progress towards to tissue. From tissue, we progress towards organ. And then from organ, we progress towards to systems. Are you there? Then you have the entire organism as a whole. Am I communicating? I'm just trying to explain. Some of all these cells stop at a particular level. Some of all these organisms, some of them stop at cellular level. Are you there? They exist as only a cell. We call those ones what? Unicellular organisms. The ones that do not stop here and progresses further, are you there? They are the what? Multicellular organisms, which means they have more than one cells. Some of them stop at tissue level, some of them stop at organ level, system level, etc. Am I communicating? So let me explain what I mean. Now, the first foundation of life, like I said, is what is a cell. What is cell? Cell can be defined as the what? As the structural and functional units of life. That's the simple definition. When I want to when I want to teach cell as a topic on its own, I will give you my standard definition, which is the structural and functional units of the protoplasm embedded in a cell. But don't worry about that first of all. So this is what a cell is. Am I communicating? Now, some organism exists as a cell. They have all the structures of a cell. They have a food vacuole, they have a nucleus, they have a mitochondria, are you there? Ribosomes, are you there? Cell membrane, etc. This is the only thing that they have, and they can exist like this. Am I communicating? They exist as a cell. Example of that is what? Is the amoeba. Is the amoeba. Are you there? This is all that it has, just one single cell with all the organelles, all the things inside the cells called the organelles. Am I communicating? Another one we have again is what? Is the paramecium, slippers shaped. Like slippers shaped. I can't draw because of time so much. But you see, it's like slippers shaped. This paramecium, everything it has, the movement to this is just within this single cell. Move with this cilia. Am I communicating? Now, all these ones they are called what? They are called unicellular organisms. Why? They have only one cell, and that one cell is doing all their function. Are you there? So example of unicellular organisms include what? Includes the euglena, amoeba, paramecium, plasmodium, and so on and so forth. Am I communicating? Whereas we also have the multicellular organism, which means they have more than one cells. For example, man, monkey. How many cells do you have in your body? For example, even your eyes alone have many cells. Your eyes alone have the rod cells for dim light. It has the what? The cone cells for bright light. Am I communicating? So you discover that other cells again that your body have now. For example, see, even man has many cells. For example, it has what? It has the nephrons. Are you there? It has the neurons. So many different type of cells that are present. Am I communicating? So they are called what? They are called the multicellular what? Organisms. Are we good? Now let's proceed. The next thing is what? Is tissue. What's tissue? Which is the second level of complexity. Now tissues is a collection of what? Of group of cells that performs what? A particular function. Am I communicating? Which means more than one cells is now involved. Not the unicellular type now. More than one cells is what is involved. Now, an example of organism that exists in tissue level, please take note of this. They ask this question a lot. Hydra. Many times. This one has come out in what? In JAMB exam. Are you there? Is the hydra. Other example we have what is the algae and sponges. All these are examples of what? Of organism that exists in what? In tissue level. Now what about in the body of animal? What are the cells or the structures that exist as tissue? Number one, the blood in what? In animals is a what? Is a tissue. Why do I say so? It composed of different types of cells. Composed of the red blood cells, composed of the white blood cells, composed of what? Of platelets, etc. Many cells. Are you there? Another example is what? Is the bone. Bone is composed of what? Several cells. We have the what? The What about the osteoblast, the osteocyte, and lastly the osteoclast? Am I communicating? Discover that this was made up of what? Of different cells that perform the same function. How about the last thing, cartilage? Hmm? Cartilage is what? It's a tissue composed of different cells, composed of what they call the chondroblast. That's the chondroblast, BLAST. It has the what? It has the chondrocyte as well. Am I communicating? So these are some of the things you see. And the next thing is what? Is organs. Now organs is when several tissues come together. They come together to form what? Organs. What are the organs? We have the respiratory organs, which is what? The lungs. And we have the organs of respiration, which is what? Which is the different organs basically, which is we have the ovaries in female. Hmm? We have the testes. All these are what? Organs. Am I communicating? Then we have the system, respiratory system, reproductive system, that covers all these ones I've been mentioning together. Please, do we understand? So now let's talk about the importance of complexity. What I just told you about was complexity. When I said from cells, it's becoming more complex to tissue, going more complex to what? Organ, more complex than what? System. So now, this process of it becoming more complex, like for example, those that are in system level, like man, having different system, respiratory system and all that, it has disadvantage. That is disadvantage. Then those that are existing at just cellular level, has what advantage and disadvantage. Am I communicating? So the process whereby something, whereby organism move from cell stage to what? To system stage, or being more complex, or being having multiple cells with different function. That's what they call what? The complexity. Are you there? And what is the advantage? Number one, cellular differentiation. Complex animals, for example, like monkeys and all that, they have different cells that does different function. Like for example, now the cells in the monkey that will cause the monkey to reproduce, are you there, is different from the cells that will cause the monkey to see. They are two different cells. Am I communicating? That's what differentiation. Are we good? The next thing is what? Different cells can begin to specialize, that they are doing one different thing. So they differentiate and they specialize. Take for example now the cell that is involved in hearing, know that it's only hearing I'm doing. It will not come and do both hearing and then do both seeing and then do both legs spreading and all that. Do you understand? So the next thing also looking again is what? Is the interdependence among the components of the cell, which means these cells can be working. As I'm hearing, for example, I can be seeing they are working, independently, like, and together. They are working and together, communicating with one another. Am I communicating? Another advantage is that what it leads to what? Efficiency. Efficiency. Respiration is perfect. Excretion is perfect in what? In complex animals like man, compared to amoeba that's using one cell to do everything, to move and everything. Am I communicating? Then the other one we'll talk about now is what? Is increase in size. Because of complexity, there is space for growth. There's space for every cell to advance in size and all that. And then even cellular adaptation. Am I communicating? Alright, I'm sorry I'm doing very fast. Okay. We'll talk about them again, but just an introduction. Then the last to talk about what is disadvantage of what? Of complexity. What's the disadvantage? Number one, there will be what? Lack of independence, which means one single cell cannot tell you that I can do everything. No. So we want to do you understand? So this independence is lost. For example, now, if this is an arm weaver, it can move with the aid of its pseudopodia. It can move all by itself. So that's what we are saying now. So there's lack of independence. Then there's even difficulty in acquiring food, because now that they are complex, they need to feed more. Even the oxygen will not be enough. They need to do that as well. Am I communicating? Then the next thing you need to know is this: now, as complexity increases, the rate of diffusion is decreasing. Why? Because it's not complex. Even the rate of excretion of metabolic waste is decreased. Are you there? And then reproduction is even more difficult. Why? Because of the complexity, the cells, so many cells are now involved. Am I communicating? So, and lastly is for difficulty in regeneration. Please, do we have any question regarding all this? All right. I'll open the group so that you answer questions.